Prince lives here, we got 10,000 lakes. But wait, the women are beautiful, to me they are. And we're not infested with pretentious movie stars. And it hit me, Minnesota is dope, if only simply for not what we have, but what we don't.
Welcome to 10 Minutes. I'm Tony Scott. This is Peter Rodney. Thanks for joining me today in studio, Peter.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to rock it out. Today's show is brought to you by Pair Up, where groups and sponsors connect. Pair makes sponsors easy for groups and events of all shapes and sizes. Find a sponsor in less than 60 seconds and activate your community to raise up to $1,000 or more towards custom shirts, cash donations, products and services, or food or catering from a national brand or local business near you. Pair Up is a pretty cool concept, Peter. You go on there, you go into the site, and you can find ways to find sponsorships for your team if you don't have one. So if your team doesn't have a sponsor, go to pairup.com and you can learn more about it.
Sounds pretty handy to me.
You and I are going to pair up today and talk about some youth hockey here in Minnesota, the state of hockey, where it all happens, where guys like Jake Gensel comes from, scores 2 goals in his first NHL game, scores on his first shot.
First shift, first shot, that puts him in some elite company.
That is amazing. Amazing stuff. All right. Jake once played Squirts in Woodbury. Why don't we start off with the Squirts? What's going on there? Our top 10 came out just Wednesday with all the different top 10 Squirt A teams. Rossi Maple Grove makes it to the top. It's going to be an exciting year at the Squirt level. We'll see a lot of Squirts this weekend and obviously throughout the season. Let's go through our picks. We've got 2 Squirt tournaments that we've identified we're going to make picks for this weekend. Burnsville tournament, I got Osseo Maple Grove against Osseo Maple Grove, basically, is that we're going to win that one.
No argument from me.
Did you see anybody else on there that really jumped out at you?
I poured over it for a solid 3.5 minutes, and no.
I couldn't find one either. Our number one will win this weekend. They have lost, though, before on Thanksgiving weekend, dating back some 4 or 5 years ago. In the early days of the 10 Minutes for Tony Scott days, they lost to a Blaine team in the Forest Lake tournament, and I believe I smashed an egg on my head as a result. So are you willing to smash an egg on your head if Osseo Maple Grove loses?
I really am.
So am I. We'll bring the eggs out if they lose. No pressure, no pressure. All right, on to the Forest Lake tournament. Speaking of that, Blaine will be in the tournament up there. That's a really solid team. Harper Searles, Easton Rooney, some good players for those guys. They're in our top 10. Another team just outside our top 10, Woodbury, is in it. I think it's a toss-up between those 2 teams. They're in the same pool, so it's the dreaded 2 best teams in the tournament in the same pool type situation.
That's
the winner of that one will win. Who do you think is going to win that one, Peter?
You know, because of players like Harper Searles and Easton Rooney, I'm going to have to go with Blaine.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with Woodbury. They have brought in a couple kids from out of state, namely one who made our Great Plains team next year, Ty Hendricks, a really good player.
Like Ty Hendricks.
Another guy you've been keeping out for is Benny Miller. He played in the Brick last year. Both these kids will be playing Great Plains. I think this is going to be a really solid, well-coached team. I'm going Woodbury in the Forest Lake tournament.
Prepare to smash 2 eggs on your head.
No. This is not egg worthy. This has got to be like prohibited favorite, gonna go undefeated, and then they lose their first game out of the blocks. All right, on to the PeeWees. Eden Prairie tournament looks to be a really good event. I think a team that's going to sneak up on some people. They're not a real top 10 team. They're barely in the top 10. Is host Eden Prairie. I think they could win their home tournament this year. How about you? Who are you going to take?
First of all, has anyone ever thought about Eden Prairie as a not top 10 team at any level?
No. Last year their Squirts were not so swell, but they're going to be real good this year. I would project that. But
that's a hot take from Tony Scott.
It's a rarity. I wrote it in the article, so it's not like I'm just coming out of nowhere with that. But I think their Squirts will be good this year. And I think that with Jackson Blake on his home sheet, they got a really good pool set up for them to get themselves to the Final Four. They can win 2 games at home. I think they're going to win the tournament.
I'm going to take Edina.
They're going to have to win their pool, which is equally one of the hardest pools I've ever seen. Maple Grove, Chaskatchan, and Edina all in the same pool. So just winning that pool, they should almost get like a big Eagle trophy for just winning that pool. And then they win that pool, then they got to go play against 3 other pool champions. I think the winner of that pool is a good take. Edina could win that pool, and if they do win that pool, I think they got a good shot of winning. But getting through that gauntlet is going to be tough. Yep. All right, other PeeWee tournaments of note. Burnsville's got a great PeeWee tournament. I take Rosemount, even though like from a rankings and winning percentage perspective, they're pretty low. They're down there in the teens, right? But if you look at who they've played and the results of their games, I think this is the best team.
Strength of schedule counts.
What is your take? Who do you think is going to win that thing?
I'm going to go with Matamidi.
I think that's a really good pick. They got some great players. They have arguably the best goaltender in the state. I tweeted about it this week, Ben Dardis. Okay. When he's on, you cannot score on him. He's one of those types of kids. In the show 2 years ago, he had a 53 save game against Alberta. It was amazing. This past week, he and Dahlmeyer went face-to-face, and they both had shutouts. 0-0 Lakeville South and Matamidi. So I like your pick on Matamidi. Matamida's had a lot of success as an organization in the Burnsville tournament, so I could see that happening for sure. And then up in the Super Rank, we have a lot of good action, a lot of good teams. What do you think about the Moundsview tournament? Who's going to win that one in the PeeWee AA tournament that they have going there?
I'm going to take Duluth East's PeeWee AA team. Been to state the last couple of years. Always a solid, well-rounded, well-coached team for the Greyhounds.
Yes, Chris has got a good squad again this year. I think you got a good point there. I think they can win. Mr. Locker is a great coach. I think they could win that tournament. Here's a team that's, if you know anything about the PeeWee level, this is a team that shouldn't sneak up on anybody. It's Champlin Park. One of the best teams that you'll see in the state this year. They're hovering in the top 10 right now in the now rankings. They should be a top 10 team. Once they start beating a top 10 team or two, I think they're a definite type of team that's going to spend a lot of time in the top 10 this year. I'm going Champlin Park to win that tournament. Okay, now speaking of Moundsview, let's move up to the Bantam AA level. And they're hosting a tournament. Not the greatest field in the Moundsview one. I think the strongest team, I think we both agree when we looked over it, is Moundsview's AA team.
Right.
We've been playing a lot of single A teams. If they don't win it, it'll probably be a Canadian team that'll come down and sneak out a win and win a tournament there.
Those Canadian teams do sneak up on you just because we don't know the teams nearly
Saint
as well.
Vital. Yeah. They could be Saint Brutal, we have no idea. Or they could be Saint Sweet Daddy, we don't know what they're going to bring. But from what we know now from a Minnesota perspective, I think the best team in Minnesota is Moundsview, who will win that one.
No arguments here.
Now, the same goes for the Burnsville tournament. Like, all the good teams are playing at Eden Prairie. We'll get to that one last. All the real top-end AA teams are playing at Eden Prairie. This year, Burnsville happens to be one of the best teams in the state. They're hosting a fairly watered-down tournament in Burnsville. If they don't win, it'll be a shock. You got any other teams that might sneak in and win that Burnsville tournament?
I do like the Northern Edge, a combination of North Branch and St. Francis to make some noise.
Pick. They got some good team. They have a good team. They could do some damage there, but I still think at the end of the day, Burnsville's got way too many horses. They're way too strong. I think Burnsville wins their home tournament, the Scott Benedict this year.
Scott Benedict.
All right, last but not least, in the youth level boys, we'll go with Eden Prairie, and that's the granddaddy. I mean, that is as good a tournament. It's as good a tournament as our Blue Ox tournament as far as a field's concerned.
Right.
You got like White Bear Lake in it. You got Grand Forks in it. You got all the top end teams are playing this weekend over at Eden Prairie. You're going to be at both championship games for the PeeWees and the Bantams. Who you say is going to be in the winner's circle on Sunday?
I liked what I saw at Grand Forks at the Blue Ox tournament. I'm looking for another big performance from Jackson Coons.
I think there, and I wrote about that when we did our Bantam Elite. I'm not Bantam Elite. My all Bantam Blue Ox
Tournament team.
The all tournament team this week. That's more than a one-man team. I mean, Dane Montgomery is a heck of a player. Zaradka's a heck of a player. Thingvold. They have two great goaltenders. I can see them winning, and you're kind of going with the now rankings. They're 6-0-1 in the now rankings. I'm going to go with the staff rankings, Minnesota staff rankings, which we don't include Grand Forks in because it's kind of a state top 10, and because they aren't in our state technically, I can't rank them.
Right.
They would be definitely a top 3 team without a doubt in our state if they were 10 minutes across the border. But if they were 10 minutes across the border, it would just be East Grand Forks. So we won't go there. However, I'm going to take White Bear Lake. That's the best team in the state. They are loaded. You saw them down in
the
Chicago
Bauer
quite
invite.
a bit. Is that the best team you saw, Minnesota team, or was it maybe Blaine? I thought one of those two teams had the best outings down there.
I think that White Bear Lake is deeper than Blaine, and I think that they can roll 3 lines without too much of a drop-off in talent. Blaine might be more physical, but the Bears are faster.
And I think Blaine might have more top-end one-line talent, right? Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
But if you can wear them down like White Bear Lake can to so many teams, White Bear is going to stay in a lot of games.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's change gears, switch gears. Let's go over to Edina for the Cake Eater girls. 10A, 12A, 15A. You'll be at the 10A championship Sunday. That one's at noon. We'll be there. We'd like to be at all of them, but we can't be everywhere. And we're putting on the Gobbler tournament in Bloomington, so I'll be there. So we're going to be all over the place this weekend. We'll be at the Turkey Trot High School. We'll be at Squirts, 10U, PeeWees, Bantams, PeeWee Bees. We're going to cover it all this week. It's going to be exciting. So let's get right to it. The girls 10A. Who's going to win that one?
I'm going to go with Stillwater.
They've had some good girls hockey. I think the best girls hockey besides Edina is Andover. And I'm going to take Andover to win it, win the 10As. How about the 12As?
I'm going to take Edina in the 12As.
Oh, listen to you. That's a really safe pick. If you saw all the girls in our PeeWee Challenge this fall that were from Edina, I don't dispute that one at all, especially considering Andover's not playing in the Cake Eater this year.
Right.
When we were doing our picks, as a little sidebar, I picked Andover. And then we went to go look who was playing in it, and Andover wasn't playing in it.
Sight unseen,
so
we chose Andover.
Take Andover, so I'm going Stillwater. So we're kind of flip-flopping our picks a little bit there.
I like my picks.
And now I get to go first in this one. So 15A, I'm going Edina. Talk about a deep group, deep age there. I'm going Edina Green, that's what it's called. They're going to go. They're going to win the tournament. Who you got them beating?
I'm going to take Wayzata Blue.
Oh, you're not agreeing with me on that one. Okay. Yeah, I like Wayzata Blue too. There's another group that had a lot of girls that have played in our PeeWee Challenge. That's a good group of kids too. So, all right, now let's get to the fun, all right? Let's talk about high school hockey. This is why we're here. We love it. These kids play their hearts out as youth to get to the high school level. We got a couple games we want to talk about. First, the Turkey Trot played over at Plymouth. Wayzata, Edina, Holy Family, and Maple Grove.
Right.
Who do you think is going to win that tournament?
I'm going to take Wayzata.
Wow,
winning their own tournament.
You just watched last year and say, "Oh yeah, they're the same team. They're going to be good." You don't realize they did lose a lot to graduate.
I do have a reason though, because I think Wayzata plays a sustainable type of game that relies on defense and goaltending. They don't rely on talent that can graduate or depart. They rely on solid fundamentals, and they always play virtually mistake-free.
Okay, and I like your take, that big sheet of ice. They practically play on a football field over there, and the bigger the sheet, the fewer the goals. Fewer the goals favors what kind of team? A defensive team like Wayzata. So I like your pick. I don't think you're going to be right, but I'm going to take Holy Family, and I'm getting holy crap for how much I like Holy Family. But if you look at that roster and their coaching staff and everything that they bring to the table, I'm saying that Holy Family will win this tournament going away.
Okay, and I'm going to give my reason for Wayzata beating Holy Family would be
you got Holy Family beating Wayzata, Edina then, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I do, but
got you on that one.
I think that Holy Family's defense is going to take a lot of shots in the championship game, and what does Wayzata do better than any team in the state? Block shots.
That's true. There's so many reasons I like Holy Family. One of the main reasons is because goaltending. I think you got Jared Modis is the best goaltender in the high school ranks right now, and I just think that's a big difference maker. So, all right, now we're done with that. Oh, one more high school game.
We got one more high school game.
This will be a fun take. Both of us off camera, we're talking about how good Minnetonka is going to be next year and how good St. Thomas Academy is going to be next year.
Right.
They're playing on Saturday. They're playing this year, though. They're playing a year ahead of time. But if rosters sustain themselves, it is truly the number 1 versus number 2 next year played right now. So you're going to get a preview. You want to look what 2017-18 is going to look like? Watch this game. I believe it's at Pagel on Saturday.
There's a lot of blue and white.
Lots of royal blue in the stands and on the rink. So I'm going with my boys on the west side. I'm picking Minnetonka. I picked them on our podcast. I'm sticking with that pick, even though some St. Thomas people threw some barbs at me. I'm sticking with it. I think that's a very talented group, and they're going to win on Saturday. Who you got?
I'm going to take St. Thomas Academy.
You're so east side.
I think that the talent matures.
When are you going to just come around to the fact that the west side is superior to the east side?
I liked what I saw at St. Thomas Academy last year with the exception of that section final, and I think that their young players are going to step into these bigger roles.
Let me remind you, that team is largely returning, and they got beat by Burnsville by at least 5 goals.
It's one game.
Okay, all right. Just remind me on that one.
STA.
All right, I like the pick. They're a good squad. I was kind of harsh on them on the podcast, but at the end of the day, they'll be in the state tournament. I don't think they're going to get tested in their section, and anything can happen at that state tournament. So.
Truth.
All right, let's move on to our boom roasted. We have some choice ones. I can't wait to hear yours. See how this one's going to come out, because mine is the oven is already preheated on mine. So go ahead.
My oven is also preheated. I was at the Shakopee Eastview Girls High School game last night, which was a great game, by the way. And there was a slash after the whistle. Pretty minor slash that happens in hockey. But some fan jumped up and said, "Throw her out of the game." And that must be his first hockey game.
Has to be.
Yeah, I hate to see his reaction when he sees something that actually merits an ejection.
All right. Oh, good boom. Good boom. My boom goes out to, and you're going to have to help me on this one. There are little scoundrels out there, I call them internet terrorists, who are entering scores onto specific teams to drop their rankings down, and they get a giggle out of it, okay? I mean, seriously, guys, it's just a pain in the butt to go in there and remove them, and they get removed fairly quickly, and I'd really appreciate it if you didn't. And if you don't, you're boom roasted.
I don't have anything to add to that. I think you roasted him pretty well. You're being trolled.
You're being trolled, and the trolls must be, everything gets deleted quickly, and people don't need to send us emails. We will find them before not, and take them down. So hopefully you guys get the message that it's not really cool. And I know who you are, because I've found you via internet searches, so you'll be taken care of by the authorities.
The internet goes both ways.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the game pucks. You got a good one. I got to go in. These game pucks are sponsored by Brew Pub Pizza, lots of matzo. If you haven't had one, get to your grocer now.
My game puck is going to go to the lovely folks at the Osseo Maple Grove Association for helping us put on a fantastic Battle for the Blue Ox tournament.
Awesome. Great helpers all around. It was a fun event. They really were supportive of putting on a great event. My game puck goes out to everybody in the Minnesota hockey community who has helped me and all the staff here at Youth Hockey Hub build a wonderful experience and a wonderful community here. We started YHH 5 years ago, almost to the day, and it was a wonderful experience, starting off as just a little blog, and then it turned into a now rankings, and it turned into some tournaments, and it's been a huge success. And it's not just because of our hard work here at YHH. You guys putting scores in and being supportive of our programming all over the state, we couldn't thank you enough. So a huge YHH thank you and Thanksgiving to everybody in the Minnesota hockey community. For Peter Odney, I'm Tony Scott. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a good day.
And if you ain't gonna leave, cause this is where you're from, say, St. Cloud.